want y'all to do for me. Now here's what I want y'all to do for me.
This news just coming in this morning, and of course he has been called one of the most influential leaders of the 20th century. And now the late Pope John Paul II has moved one step closer to sainthood. The Vatican has approved the first of two steps needed to declare the late Pope a saint. Cardinal Wuerl is the Archbishop of Washington. He was ordained to bishop by Pope John Paul II, had a very special relationship with the late Pope. And Cardinal, welcome. It is a real honor to have you with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's a joy to join you.
You know, talk to us a little bit about Pope John Paul II. There was discussion of his sainthood while he was still living. He's the longest reigning pope in most of our lifetimes.
I think one of the reasons why everybody recognizes that this is an exciting moment is everyone saw in him that he truly was a man of God. He caught the imagination of the whole world. I don't think there's been anyone in the past half century who was able to inspire in the way he did. He reminded us of our solidarity as humans, of our human dignity, and how all of that flows from our relationship with God. And he went all over the world simply saying that.
Yeah, he touched so very many people. And a lot of people, outside the Roman Catholic Church sort of want questions answered about how someone becomes a saint. You think of saints not as people that, you've watched others interact with in your lifetime, but sort of holier figures that, float above in the heavens. So talk to us about the process of sainthood, the two miracles, one of which has been confirmed for Pope John Paul II.
The process begins when people recognize that they're dealing with someone who truly was a person close to God. We speak about heroic virtue. But then the Church has a demanding process. Before it can move forward, there has to be some divine sign, some intervention. And that is the form of a miracle. There has to be some action that has taken place through the intercession of, in this case, John Paul II, that medical science can't explain. And that, once that's determined as a miracle, the first step is taken. And we've just seen that, the beatification. Now the second step, equally demanding, is there has to be another non-explainable physical cure that can be attributed to the intercession of John Paul the Great. It's a long process. It's been somewhat shortened because everybody has recognized in Pope John Paul his sanctity, his holiness, his closeness to God. And so I think there's a general, almost by acclamation, outcry, this man is truly a holy man. But the process still has to run its course.
Of course. When you think of others who are in line, Mother Teresa comes to mind. And this process, there's usually a 5-year waiting period, as I understand it, after the passing of Pope John Paul II. But that was what was eliminated for him because of all the reasons that you're stating, because of this sort of global kind of acceptance and understanding that this man would indeed become a saint.
And if you remember, when he was buried at his funeral in St. Peter's Square with that 5 million people, that huge crowd, they began to chant as the body was being carried into the basilica for its final interment. They began to chant, make him a saint now, make him a saint now, declare him a saint. Because people recognized that, and it wasn't just at that last moment. All of the years of his papacy, as you pointed out, so many years, almost 27, we all saw in him his unique closeness to God, but more importantly, his ability to engage us in that same experience of God in our lives. I think those are signs of a saint, signs of holiness, and people just said, make him a saint now.
Yeah,
I think that's the reason.
It seemed to be something that was in the consciousness of everybody who was in St. Peter's Basilica in the square there on that day, and it's a beautiful recognition of Pope John Paul II's life, and we'll be following all of this through the big day on May the 1st. And Cardinal Wuerl, we thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing your thoughts on Pope John Paul II.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Because people have said, they have misused prayer. They have made you think that prayer can solve all things. And prayer, they got billboards that said prayer always works. It never fails. And just pray, pray, pray. But people need to know some basics about praying. We need to know about praying like we need to learn about God's dietary law or any other topic in the Bible. We need some understanding about it. It ain't something that you just do any kind of way, the way you feel like doing it. That's what people don't understand. But they're going to use prayer like that in itself will get you somewhere with God without anything else. And it don't work like that, brothers and sisters. Prayer will only work if you know the basics about it, and that is the other ingredients that come with it. That's the only way prayer will work. Other than that, it will not work, and that's different from what we hear in the world, because the world say prayer will always work. Prayer never fails. Somebody having a hard time, just pray. Well, maybe you can pray, but maybe you need to do something else besides pray. Maybe you're having a hard time because you're not doing something right that God wants you to do. But you can't just say, well, I ain't going to do nothing but pray. But that's what people done. They use prayer to kind of usurp any kind of rules or regulation, do's and don'ts from God. Oh, we just going to pray. Like I've had people, even again, some people in here, I'm preaching to them, I'm talking to them, and then some people, they still say it to this day. People say, well, yeah, that sounds good, but what about how's your prayer life? I want to say none of your business. Because prayer is between you and God. That's who that's between. But see, that people want to take that, and preachers, they peddle stuff like that because they're not teaching the word, period. So they just throw out, yeah, just pray. But you don't even know what to pray for. Don't even know how to pray. So that's what we're going to deal with. Prayer, the basics. Prayer, the basics. We're going to look at some basic stuff surrounding prayer. And we're going to start off in Proverbs 28.